Gangs can't give. They can give a sense of belonging, but it's a very wrong sense of belonging. It's a sense of belonging where you always have to put up a front, you always have to be something different. You're always competing. You're always trying to prove that you are something special. People are always watching out for your weaknesses. I sometimes think when I hear people talking about teenage years, you know, and the good time they had. I mean, I know teenage years can be a difficult time for everybody, but, you know, I didn't have a teenage. Don't know it. Don't know what it's like. Wasted years. Extremism. How many young people are getting into extremism for a place to belong? We have a massive problem in East Germany where people have just lost their identity. Overnight, everything they knew just collapsing, and people look to something new. Or they look to some sense of belonging, some sense of identity, and turn to nationalism. Lots of people here turning to nationalism. And you always need then an enemy. Isn't it? To belong, you need somebody who doesn't belong. You can only belong if somebody else doesn't belong. You know what? In God's community, He unites all things together. Everyone belongs who is in Him. But you see, the world tries to create community, but it doesn't work. If you look, has anybody heard of Prevent? Yeah. I had to do Prevent training. If you work in education or something at the college or something, always event training, and you look at signs, what signs you need to look out for young people who are vulnerable to extremism. And one of the things they say, obviously, is you know, political things they see on the news, where they feel victimized and things like that. But a very strong one is if that is combined with personal breakdown, family, and those things come together, that creates an explosive mixture. But they do say when you notice those things, you need to watch out. People turn to extremism because they want to belong. People want to belong. People want to belong together. It's natural in us. That's how we were created. But you see, there is no belonging together outside of Christ. It's impossible. They tried it with the Tower of Babel. They all came together. And they wanted to create one united world. They all wanted to be together. And they wanted to reach heaven. But leaving God out of it. But you see, all things together in Him, you can't leave God out. And God looked down and He said, you're building a tower? I'm going to confuse your languages. Because there is no unity, and God will not allow unity outside of Him. Because God purposed that all things should come together in Him. And that's going to happen when Jesus returns. But you know what? God is already working in His people to bring that about. And I'll get to that in a moment. But first of all, separation. Well, how did separation happen? Of course, we're created for relationship. There's God. God creates man, woman, and He creates them to have relationship with Him and with one another. So you've got three-way relationship. You've got relationship with God, and you've got relationship with one another. But then the snake comes, and the snake says, look, you can be your own bosses. You can know for yourself what's right and wrong. You can make your own decisions. You can be like God. You don't need God anymore. You can do your own thing. So they say, that sounds good. Eve eats from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. She eats, and she gives Adam to eat, and he eats, and their eyes are opened, and all of a sudden, they don't need God anymore. So they think. Their relationship with God is severed. Original sin. And because their relationship with God is severed, ultimately their relationship with each other, humanity, amongst themselves, is severed. What's the first thing that happens? God says, Adam, did you eat from the tree? Yes, Eve gave me. What's the first thing He does? Blame. And now you'll know this one because I've said it many times. One or two might still laugh. Adam blamed Eve. Eve blamed the serpent. And the serpent didn't have a leg to stand on. Yeah? Okay. So Adam blamed Eve. Isn't that what we're like? You know, when God confronts us, when we're confronted with our sin, with our wrongdoing, the first thing we do is somebody else's fault. That's just what we're like, isn't it? So self and hostility replace unity. They were one flesh. God made them out of one and brought them together in one. And now all of a sudden, no, she did it, he did it. Biggest problem in marriage, blame. It's her fault. No, it's his fault. You've got the marriage counselor there trying to get him to talk, and all his fault. She always, he always, you always. The next thing, of course, envy. Cain and Abel. Abel was more able than Cain in pleasing God. So what he did is he offered a sacrifice of the flocks, and for some reason God accepted that sacrifice. Now, there's all kinds of theories about that, because God required blood sacrifice, substitution, and that, but I'm not going in that direction right now. I just want to, let's just leave it. For whatever reason, God accepts Abel's sacrifice. What does Cain do? He brings his sacrifice. He brings from the fruit of the field, and he brings it, and God doesn't accept it. Now, if you are Cain, and you see that God accepts Abel's sacrifice, what would you do? I mean, if you've got any sense, you go to Abel and say, look, I recognize God accepts your sacrifice. What have you done right that I've done wrong? Yeah? Does that make sense? What can I learn from you? Because if God is pleased with you, I want to be like you. Teach me how to please God. Because you've obviously worked it out. You've figured it out. But what does Cain do? He sulks. He's jealous. And instead of following Abel's example, he goes and kills him. First murder, Saul and David. King Saul. Yeah? The people of Israel want a king. They want to be like the other nations. That's one problem already. Because of course God says, the people are asking for a king when I was their king. They've sinned against me. They want somebody in a sense that they can see to replace me. Because God was their king. Back to that scripture. The Lord shall be king over all the earth. You see why I love Bible Gateway, daily readings. The Lord shall be king over all the earth. Well, that's what he is, isn't it? But the people wanted a king, and you know, so often God gives us, unfortunately, God gives us what we ask for. You see, God has given us free will and respects that. But we need to be so careful what we ask for. They ask for a king, and God gives them a king. And he picks a man who really isn't ambitious, isn't really, you know, he's not expecting it. He says, who am I? And, you know, and God makes him great. But you see, greatness can change us. So Saul becomes king. Now, Saul has a bit of a problem, because there are some other people who don't want him to rule, and who want to take land away from him and his people, and they call the Philistines. So the Philistines come, and they fight the Israelites, and they defeat them, and they come, and there's this massive guy called Goliath. Now, before we get to Goliath, Samuel the prophet, who prayed for Saul, God speaks to him and he says to him, stop praying for Saul. I've rejected him. He's sinned twice. He's turned his back on me. He doesn't want to know anymore. He's taken my place. He's doing the things he shouldn't be doing. He should be leaving to me and the priests. And he's not obeying me. So I'm going to pick somebody else. And he goes and he finds David, the little guy, the little shepherd boy, the youngest of the family. Nobody's, you know, God specializes in the people who nobody else is thinking of. Anyway, so he calls David. And Saul has this heavy spirit. You see, when you're no longer in touch with God, when you're no longer under God's protection, then things begin to change. There's this heavy spirit, this evil spirit comes upon him. And he gets this temper and he gets angry. And somehow David ends up there in his palace, playing on the harp, playing on the lyre, singing. And whenever he plays, whenever he worships God, because David is a man after God's heart. When he worships God, that evil spirit lifts off Saul, and Saul wants him around. He wants him to be there all the time because he's benefiting from his presence. He's benefiting from his worship. It's rubbing off on him. It's great to have people around you from whom you can benefit. Then Goliath comes. David's back with Daddy looking after the sheep. Daddy sends him to the battlefield where his big brothers are, the ones that Samuel would have preferred, because when he looked at them, they were big and strong and everything. God says, no, not that one, not that one. Get the little guy. So the little guy comes with cheese sandwiches, brings them to the battlefront, and brings them to the brothers to eat. And there they are saying, what are you doing here, little guy? What are you doing here? This is man's business. There's a big, strong guy here trying to fight us. What are you doing on the battlefield? And then he said, well, what's the problem? What about God? Who's this uncircumcised Philistine? Who's this guy who doesn't belong to God, who thinks he can challenge God's people? You see, because in God, brought together in God, in him, we're a formidable force. God's people already have the victory. And he goes to Saul and says, I'm going to fight the guy. Nobody else dares fight him. I'm going to fight him. I'm going to trust him. And he takes his sling with which he's already killed the bear, he's already killed the lion, and he takes his sling and he puts a stone in and he slings the stone. And you know the story? Everybody know the story? Yeah? Hits him in the middle of the forehead and he takes Goliath's sword, chops off his head, and Goliath is defeated. Saul is happy. All the people are happy. They're celebrating David. What happens? The women begin to sing. Saul has slain his 1,000. David has slain his 10,000. And Saul hears it. And all of a sudden, he can't see anymore what David has done. As long as he was benefiting from David, as long as David was making him great, as long as David was feeding his ego, because now all of a sudden he was the king again, ruling over the Philistines, defeating them and everything. Now all of a sudden there's a threat, and the tables turn. While he serves my purpose, I'll have him. You see, that's man who's turned away from God. There can't be any community because it's about me. It's about how I look, what I can get out of it. The community was benefiting. Everybody was benefiting. Saul was benefiting, the people were benefiting. They could grow their crops again, they could farm their fields again, they could look after their cattle wasn't being stolen by the Philistines, their land wasn't being invaded, their children weren't being killed or taken into slavery. Everybody was benefiting. But Saul couldn't handle it. Because it's about me. You see, when it's not about God, it's about me. One day, God will bring all things back together in Christ. See, we turned away from God. But as we turn back to God, he brings us all together through the cross in one. It's not surprising that Paul starts his letter to the Corinthians, his first letter to the Corinthians. That's all about division and about bringing together. He starts it by talking about the cross. The cross. Because the cross of Christ, where we all come the same way, we're all forgiven, we all come with the same need, and we're all received, in whom we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins, according to the riches of his grace, nothing that I've done, nothing that I can contribute, but everything that he's done, which he made abound towards us in all wisdom and prudence, having made known to us the mystery of his will, to bring us all together in himself through that cross, through that redemption, through that new life